Joining us now for our second conversation today, I'm delighted to say we have Sarah from psychology. Sarah is going to tell us all about how she came to DCU and her journey coming into the program as a mature student, and also how she's getting on the last couple of years in and outside the classroom.
Where's best to start at the beginning, I suppose. I suppose like I came to DCU, obviously I'm a mature student, so my pathway was a little bit windy, I would say. I was working for a long time. After I finished school, I did 1 year in DIT in business and communications, and then I went into kind of retail management, and I worked there in different types of management jobs and retail jobs for like probably nearly 12 years. And no, maybe not 12 years, but a good number of years. And then I had a baby, and when I had my baby, I was thinking, like, if I'm going to be working 50 or 60 hours a week, I really would like to be making sure that it's something that is valuable and something that I actually really wanted to do with my time. So I decided that I would go back to college. I always wanted to study psychology, but I was quite lost when I was doing my Leaving Cert. So I think I put like down 2 things on my CAO application, and I got one of them. So I was like, okay, cool, go with that. But it wasn't really what I wanted to do. And I guess I never thought that I would be able to do psychology. So I applied as a mature student, and by some strange force, I managed to get into DCU, which was my first choice. And here I am 4 years later, loving it. Can't believe 4 years. Like, it's just insane how fast it goes. Really is crazy. So yeah, that's kind of how I got here. So
I'd imagine, and by the way, you always get what you deserve, so I've no doubt you fully deserve to
that's nice, Johnny, thank you.
No problem. Well, we definitely will get into the course. We'll get into psychology, because there's lots of people tuning in, I'm sure, that want to hear all about psychology, what you do, what's it all about, etc. So if we started, we'll come to that now in a moment, but if we started then from your journey into DCU in terms of being a mature student and the entry route that you took, how, I guess, did the first, and particularly from your pathway, how did the first couple of weeks, couple of months, what was your experience around that, and maybe just reflecting on that?
I think for me, it was a really positive start. Like, obviously it was something that I really wanted to do, and I really wanted to go to DCU. I kind of spent the year previous doing a lot of research on DCU and the psychology program itself. I went to the mature student open nights and information nights. So I had gathered quite a lot of information about why I wanted to go to DCU. My first couple of weeks, I actually did the Mature Student Writing Week, which has grown legs, and it has now got many other aspects that are involved in it. So it's kind of for mature students to prepare them for kind of going back into academic life and what it's going to be like to go back and do some study after having a break for a number of years. So I was really lucky. I did do the 2 weeks of the writing week, or the week of the writing week, and from that I met some of my future classmates that were also mature students. So we've kind of stuck together. The psychology program itself, it's not massive, you know, like there's, I think, a max of 50 people that get accepted into it, and with that it's very unusual that there are actually 50 people that are in it. So our classes are small, which is amazing, and you just kind of, I just got to be really lucky and made some really good friends at that writing week, and they helped a lot. They were really great support. So for me, it was very positive. Obviously it was new, you're kind of going from maybe going into work every day where you're just, you know, it's the same old kind of thing, and then you go into college and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, I'm learning so many new things. And you know, for me and the other mature students as well, we were really excited. So that probably wore off after the assignments started coming in, and the realization of, oh, we're not just here for a good time, we're here to to learn and to do things. So yeah, it was definitely a very positive start for me anyway. So I enjoyed it a lot.
It's really good to hear, and I'm slightly biased because I did, as I said in the last conversation, study in DCU, so I have experienced it as a student, but I do hear it all the time on the other side of the fence now about people coming in, about how the support's there. You yourself engage with different things. Kevin on our last conversation, and Gary and Olivia last week all spoke about the various, doesn't matter where you come from, what you're doing, what experience, if you're good or bad, or all different things. So it's really good to hear that. So lots of people on the call today, and just before I actually ask you about the course, there is a Q&A function on the screen, and there's one coming in already, but there's a Q&A function on the screen. If you have a question as we're talking, it's anonymous, don't worry. So if you have a question, you want to ask something to Sarah or myself, just throw it in there and we'll get to it. So lots of people on the call today. Psychology is always a popular degree, and it's a great and it's a strong degree to go in many different directions. Can you give us a sense of what you do? If you give us a quick rundown of maybe year one, and what you kind of do, the modules, the assignments, in an overview, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess for your first 2 years, you start off with getting a really good grounding in the various different aspects and modules that are available in psychology. So you have core modules of like cognition, biopsychology, critical thinking, which was really, really good for me in first year, because obviously critical thinking is maybe something that when you're out of college for a while, you don't think about as much. So I really enjoyed that module. You also have a core module that goes through the 3 years, which is research methods, which is one of the biggest selling points, I think, of coming to DCU. You're learning a lot of research methods, and for me, I was always terrified of research, of maths, statistics, anything like that was just like a big no for me. And my oldest brother was like a maths genius, and that, he got that side of the family genes. So for me, I was always terrified of it. And definitely coming into the program, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to manage the statistics side of things and the research methods. It's one of my favorite modules now, and you do it throughout your 3 years, so that by the time you get to your 4th year, you have really good ground to be able to do your own piece of research for your final year project. Do huge there's a huge difference in what's available for you to do. Obviously, if you're kind of more interested in business modules or marketing and HR, you can kind of pull those types of modules into your degree through your optional electives. For me, I don't know why, but I started off doing a little bit of business, so I would have done marketing and HR in first and second year, and now this year I'm definitely kind of more focused on the neuroscience side of stuff, so that's kind of what I've been doing this year. But you have so many options of modules that you can kind of pull in and cater your degree to kind of what your interests are, which is really, really good. In terms of assessments and what the course is like for exams, in first year it's generally pretty 50-50. You get a good chance to do a lot of continuous assessments, and they count towards about 50 or 40% of your grades. And then some modules will have an exam, and some modules are 100% CA. So let's say for research methods in particular, it says it's 100% CA, and the reason that is that you actually get to do your research exams through an in-unit, which is done in your class in our kind of second home, which is HG50 in the nursing building, and you're just there with your class and your lecturer, and there'll be another moderator who will be there throughout the exam. Kind of take that fear out of going into a big, huge exam hall to do something that you're probably going to be a little bit nervous about doing. So you're just so supported, I suppose, as well. There's a lot of assistance and support for doing any of your exams and practicals. It's quite backed up, so there's nothing to fear. If I can do it, anyone can. Definitely, that's what I would say.
Thanks for all that, and hopefully there was some value, because there's a couple of questions coming in. Are there many hours of lectures in the psychology degree? It might change from year to year, but
yeah, it definitely changes from year to year. In your first and second year, your hours are quite high, probably, you know, about 20 hours a week, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on what kind of practicals you have or what kind of tutorials. Coming up to Christmas, the contact hours will increase as well, because they're kind of, you're getting preparation for assignment submission and for exams. Like your contact hours are definitely high compared to other courses. You're in probably 5 days a week. You're not going to be in from 9 to 5, but you will definitely have, you know, a good 4-hour chunk most days, maybe a little bit more, that you will be there. But it doesn't feel like that when you're there. You know, it kind of just becomes your life. You're on campus, you're in DCU, and yeah, it doesn't sound, I know that might sound kind of scary, but it's definitely not. It's definitely an enjoyable process to actually go to your lectures. So it's not something that would be kind of off-putting in terms of contact hours.
There's one in here, and you might be able to answer, but you might be able to speak to it. Is it hard to get into psychology, and if so, why? I'm not too sure to the person that asked that question. Is that just more on the point side of it, or is it something else? But any comments on that, Sarah? All right, are you there, Sarah?
Perspective.
Sorry, yeah, go on.
I'm not sure if it's from leaving perspective or from kind of after you finish your undergrad. But from leaving cert perspective, I know that points can be considered quite high. But you know, obviously, if it's thinking about, you're probably going to be aiming for that type of points anyways. So again, I wouldn't let it be put off by it. And then I suppose in terms of what you know do after you finish your undergrad, no, a lot of people ask that question about once you finish your degree, you know, are you going to be able to work in psychology and that kind of thing. Obviously, you can go and do anything after you do your psychology degree, and it's a really good kind of foundation to be able to spring into many different types of careers. Obviously, if you want to do something that is more like clinical or research based, you will have to continue on and do study, and that's because of the type of work that you will need you know, a further and higher qualification to be able to work with vulnerable or people in different circumstances. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's something that you have to do. You don't have to continue on and do further study. There's a lot of people in my class alone that are really interested in kind of educational side of things, or business and marketing and management and HR. Like, there's so many different avenues that you can do. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to continue on and do further study unless that's something that you really want to do. So I hope that kind of clears it up.
There's a question in here, and we mightn't get to it in full to the person that asked it, but we may be able to take this offline if required. But somebody's asking that they haven't been in education in a while. How did you find the transition back in, retaining information, getting back into routines of education, I guess? I mean, might take this offline as well, but just maybe your thoughts on initially.
It was really easy. I don't know whether that's just like riding a bike. I think you're in school for so long when you're a kid that you get through it. Like, obviously there are parts that are daunting and that are scary, you know, especially coming in with kind of leaving cert students who have done extremely well in their leaving cert exams. There's always that kind of that, you know, how did I get here? What am I doing here? But when it's something that you absolutely love doing, then it's really not such a crazy experience. And as well, because our classes are so small, we really have a lot from our academic team and our lecturers. So I've been really lucky that if there's been issues that have come up for me, or, you know, managing kind of home life and, you know, just general things that happen in life, I've always been really lucky, and I've been able to get some kind of really solid advice and support from the staff and the lecturers that are at DCU. So it's definitely, again, not something that I would let put you off it at all. It's such an enjoyable course that, maybe that's why they don't want everyone to know, that it's so good. So that's why they only let a few people in, that sort of way. That's kind of what I think,
Hopefully.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't like to put off.
Sorry, Sarah, sorry to cut across. I just going to say to the person that asked that question, feel free to give us a shout at studenthelp@dcu.ie if you want to know more about it. I know our student ambassadors, and Sarah being one of them, are always more than happy to talk to people, to help people, to give them insights, experiences, and so on. So if we didn't answer that in its fullest, please do get in touch, and we're more than happy, as I said, to connect and get you more information to the person. There is a couple, about 8 or 9 minutes left. If anyone does want to ask a question, please just pop it in, and we'll get it to Sarah. And I hope everybody's enjoying so far. I just want to ask one or two things about outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
So you went through psychology. Well, initially you gave us a sense of the I guess, route you took coming back to college. Then you gave us a sense just there of the course and a couple of other things. Outside of the program, be it student ambassador, be it getting involved with the time that you have, give us a sense of your journey, your experience, what happens outside the classroom.
So for me, I really wanted to kind of immerse myself in as much college life as I could, because I didn't do it so good the first time around. So this time I was like, I don't care what it is, I'm doing it. Probably to a fault, maybe. I tried to do too much. But it's a really incredible experience to be able to be involved in other aspects of college life. I think Kevin had mentioned, things like class rep and stuff like that. And for me, that was something that I decided, like, look, if I can do that, that would be great. So I put myself forward. So for the first 2 years, I was class rep. I was involved in Head Start, which is a society in first year. And that kind of was a really, really interesting society to be involved with. They worked with people with different types of disabilities. It was kind of like a dance and art and kind of creative society where you just got to engage with people through different types of drama or arts and stuff. So there's always room to get involved. Generally DCU try to leave Wednesday afternoons free in terms of timetabling for modules and lectures and stuff like that. Spend that time trying to get involved in different aspects of student life. I definitely agree with what Kevin said, and I think, just try it all. I think I even tried, Dungeons and Dragons Society in first year, and like all these kind of just, mad things that I didn't have time to do at all. But that I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. And you just get to meet so many different people over the campus. There's lots of opportunities as well as you go through your years to get involved in different types of research. And I think that's one. You have third and fourth year students that are doing their own kind of research projects, and they're always looking for volunteers. So you kind of get to have an idea of what's involved in kind of the more practical sides of even nursing and other types of projects that are going on. So it's really a good opportunity to get involved in lots of different things and just try out, different types of volunteering societies, and you just meet like the best people, even from being with the student ambassador team. There are times where you just want to cry from, general college stress of getting stuff done, and you get to meet your lovely crazy student ambassador friends or your society friends, and you just get to laugh it off. And I think that's one of the really important things, that you have a balance. That's not all about, trying to achieve the best results and trying to get the best out of yourself. It's important to kind of give yourself a break and enjoy yourself a bit as well. So I've definitely done that, I would say.
Yeah, the balance thing, and you could have a full conversation about balance and the importance of in and outside the classroom, and it is such a crucial and critical point. If I could finish on, well, one thing anyway, and just to get a sense of, so the psychology degree is taught on our Glasnevin campus. So we do have a St. Patrick's campus and an All Hallows campus as well, and a sports campus. But So in terms of what's on that campus, there's some people that are listening here, have never been to DCU, don't know much about it. You know, there's a library and there's a few other things. What so far have you engaged with across either campus, not just the Glasnevin campus?
So I guess for me, I think if you're a psychology student, your kind of next home, apart from HE50, is definitely going to be the library. I've spent so much of my first and second years in the library with, you know, my study buddies. You get to, it's not just necessarily the library in terms of going to get books, but it's actually really good to have like a de-stress. You can book a room and you can kind of go through presentations and different types of kind of tasks that are going on. So definitely the library is a great resource. I've enjoyed it. I've because of the fact that I've a little one at home, getting stuff done for college is just not a conducive environment to college work. So yeah, I've spent a lot of my time in the library. I've also spent a lot of my time in the different cafes that are around the library, which is really nice because you can kind of just have, you can walk through the Glasnevin campus. You're actually right beside the park, so you can kind of like go and de-stress. For me, that's a big thing. Like for the societies and stuff, some of those will happen in the gym. There's obviously, if you're involved in the swimming society, they have access to the swimming pool in the morning times. Also the student centre, the kind of new Students' Union building has been amazing. You can just go, sit on the steps, eat your lunch, and somebody who's like Mozart Jr. Is playing the piano, and it's just a really nice kind of break. And again, you just kind of bump into people and you just kind of get to mingle, even though you know, you're like, I'm never going to talk to anybody when I'm there, but I don't know what it is. There's just a weird magic that floats around DCU where you just talk to random people. It's amazing. So there's definitely the smoothie bar in the gym is definitely a place that you'll find me. Their smoothies are delicious and helped me through many exams, let me tell you.
And that, I guess, and that we're just near the out of time. So if you do have any last minute questions, just throw them in and we can get them across. But that maybe is a good point to kind of wrap up the conversation, that obviously there's an academic side of this and there's a course and there's a career element to it all, if you like. But then in a very subtle and a very mysterious and magical way, as you said, there's a library and there's a guy or a girl playing a piano, or there's going to the swimming pool, or there's eating, or there's, you know, so many different things is intertwined, and I guess the experience is a crucial bit to it all. So just before we get to our quick fire round, I see Kevin, and is Gary still in? Gary from last week, who's the current leader.
No, you're doing a quick fire round
Yeah,
with
no,
me.
we are. No, we are.
Oh,
Yeah. Gary's in the room here. I can see him. Nobody else can. He's waiting to see if his title will be taken. Actually, just before we go, did you ever use any of the psychology you've learned on yourself or with yourself?
Oh, like that is just a given. This year we've been given strict instructions in one of our first lectures that under no circumstances are you to apply this knowledge to yourself. It's don't do it. But yeah, you do, and you like, I've grown so much. I think if you're interested in this kind of area of study and why people do things and how people do things, how the brain works, then obviously there's potentially reasons there. You've maybe met someone who's experienced problems, you know, has a certain type here that you're like, oh my God, why does that person like lollipops so much? So yeah, you definitely do apply it to your own life as much as possible, but definitely the good side of things. You know, being a little bit more mindful, you know, kind of knowing that it's okay to give yourself a break and try not to be so hard on yourself at times. That's definitely kind of the ethos of, you know, what goes on in the psychology room, and it's definitely something that has helped me hugely in my personal life as well as my academic life. So yeah, you just can't help yourself. It just, you know, it just, as much as you try not to, you do kind of walk away going, oh my God, do I have like a second brain? Or, you know, yeah, there's definitely days like that for sure.
Thanks for the question and thanks for answering. So before we get the quick fire round, just to remind people, obviously it's only a half an hour, very short period of time. There's lots of value so far in the conversation. Please do get in touch. We're on our email, studenthelp@dcu.ie. We're on social media. We have blogs, we have podcasts, we have lots more information as an online prospectus. We'll do whatever we can to make sure that you get the information that you need. So I'm looking at my questions here. And I see last week's leader still very much viewing. So I think Kev, in the last round actually picked the three hardest questions. So you don't get the pick, unfortunately.
Yes, thank you, Kevin.
But your three questions are: the name of the library on the St. Patrick's campus is?
The Cregan Library.
Very good. Ding, ding. One
Woo!
out of one. True or false? Two true or false questions, actually. DCU was named Sports College of the Year 2020.
True.
True.
Yes.
And the last one is also true and false. That's 2 out of 2.
Woo! Okay, sorry. I get really competitive.
No, that's okay. That's okay. True or false? There is an inter-campus bike scheme in DCU.
True.
True. 3 out of 3. I don't know if that makes you the leader or joint leader, but I'm sure Gary.
Do I beat Gary? That's what I want to know.
Gary will let me know, I'm sure, now in the next couple of seconds if he's winning or if it's a draw. I can't remember from last week. But anyway, there you go. He just popped in. Kevin also said not fair questions. Sorry, Kev. It's just got 1 minute past 5. I do want to try keep to the time, and we said we'd finish at 5. So just lastly, on behalf of everybody that's here and watching the last little while, Sarah, thanks a mil for your insights and for having the conversation today. Very, very enjoyable. So thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
I win.
You win. Yeah. Most importantly, you win. And we'll catch up soon. Please God, and stay safe. And yeah, we'll catch up soon.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Bye.
See you, Sarah. Thanks, Emil. And to everybody that took part or was listening here today, thank you very, very much. This has been episode 2 of In Conversation With. You will catch last week's episode with Olivia and Gary up online. This episode from today will also be going up online in the next couple of days. Joining us next week, just a reminder, we're here every Wednesday from 4 to 5 live. Joining us next week, we'll have Maeve from Communications at 4 o'clock and Rory from our BA in Accounting and Finance course at 4:30. So we are here every Wednesday from 4 to 5 live. Do join us for the next couple of weeks. I hope you found today enjoyable. Do stay in touch. We're at studenthelp@dcu.ie. All that leaves me to say is thank you, stay safe, and we'll chat to everybody really, really soon. Take care, everybody.